We are presenting Evolution of Pollution, the virtual reality simulation at Wright Information Technology. I am Camila Lopez.
I'm Nick Garcia.
I'm Brandon Robles.
I'm Lars Barragan.
And I'm Damon Keown.
So to start off, we're going to be talking about overall statistics of pollution in the United States. 141.1 million of Americans live in poor air quality. 40% of lakes are too polluted for wildlife to live. 1.2 trillion gallons of untreated sewage, stormwater, and industrial waste is poured into the U.S. waters. 63 million Americans are exposed to polluted drinking water, and 780 million people do not have access to clean water. So from this, we can see that the majority of the United States does suffer from pollution, and it has devastating consequences not only to us personally, but to the environment itself. These are some pictures of how bad the pollution is here in the U.S. So we just see all of this is just flooded with trash, and then we even see the waters being polluted. And this is very bad simply because water runs throughout the whole world, so it doesn't just stay in one area, it moves throughout the whole ocean.
Pollution in the tri-state area. In 2019, sewage made New York water unsafe to even touch. Even now, the water can make you very ill if swam in. Luckily, water at our Stanford beaches would never get this bad, right?
Even in a smaller scale, water pollution affects local communities. In places like New Jersey, roads have to be closed down when they flood because of the polluted water. 60% of water pollution comes from storm drain waters. But this isn't Connecticut, so why should we care, right? Connecticut waters could never possibly be as bad as New Jersey.
That leads us to the Ripplewam River. The Ripplewam River flows through Stamford and spans 17 miles into the Stamford Harbor. The issue with the river is it's extremely polluted. The river was once filled with fish. For students our age, the idea of that is laughable. All we've ever known with the river is when it's filled with bottles and bags. We want to see a future where the river can maybe return to its former glory. It can be a real eyesore if you take a trip to Mill River Park, or you're simply walking down Washington Boulevard. Not to mention the pollution that flows down to our beaches. The pH level of the river varies throughout from neutral water to as high as 11, which is extremely basic. This is problematic to any living organisms trying to inhabit it. The saline level, which is the amount of salt in the water, is double that of what's in the ocean when it's supposed to be fresh water.
Why should we care? Well, for one, it's damaging our world. Water pollution alone has already killed off many species and withered their populations. It's devastated important ecosystems such as coral reefs. And even on a more personal and selfish level, it makes our beaches harder to enjoy. It's no secret that beaches like Cove aren't the cleanliest. It's sort of a running joke in our communities, in fact.
So our concept to bring awareness to the issue of pollution is providing a virtual reality program. We're going to immerse kids into this virtual reality that shows the pollution in the ocean. It would be targeted towards elementary schoolers from ages 4 to 11. Virtual reality creates an interactive environment, making it easier to explain the consequences of pollution. Younger generations are much more likely to retain and act upon the issue and are much more aware and open about climate change and pollution. They're our future, and so training them to be aware of these issues will give us a chance at a better world.
We plan to gather information by taking pictures of the Ripplewam River and Cove Beach to show just how much trash there is. We could also take pictures of the north side of the river to contrast how wealth disparity could play a part in pollution. We would also invest in chemical and pH testers so we could collect our own modern data on the river.
To produce the game, we would first make 3D renders of trash that, if put in a 3D space, would be life-sized. This life-sized space would be a replica of an ocean floor. The simulation would involve a timeline that the user could manipulate and move to whatever time period they want. But as a presentation, it would be a linear evolution. So it would start with clear oceans filled with wildlife, and as the timeline continues, it shows how pollution and trash affects the wildlife. So as the timeline progresses, the animals would start to leave, and the plants would discolor or disappear as well. By the end, it would show a completely different landscape that's been affected by pollution and void of life. It would concisely demonstrate to kids just how pollution could affect the real world.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope you take our concept into consideration